Well, good afternoon. My name is Naz Campanella. I am your MC for this evening. I am the ABC's National Disability Affairs reporter, and I had the pleasure of doing the voiceovers for a number of the works in this amazing new building at the Art Gallery, so it is wonderful to be back here. Welcome to the 2024 Australian Philanthropy Awards Showcase. It is absolutely fantastic to have this many people in one room. I'm still quite not used to having such crowds after the last few years. So thank you for all taking your seats very promptly. I hope you've had a chance to mingle, maybe have a drink and eat some canapes. Well, these awards recognise the extraordinary achievements in philanthropy, honouring those working to create lasting, positive change, contributing to a generous and inclusive Australia. Before we start, I would personally like to extend a warm welcome to any First Nations people in the room with us tonight, and just because I am a person with lived experience of disability, to anyone that identifies or maybe doesn't identify as a person with disability in this room as well, and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge that we are on Gadigal land. Before we go any further, I should do, the rules part of today. Let's just get that out of the way. Please turn your mobile phones off. In the unlikely case of an emergency, we will follow the orders from the staff here at the gallery. And if you do need the bathrooms, they are located directly outside where you entered to register, just beneath the escalators. So, as I said, we are on Gadigal land, but I would now like to hand over to Uncle Michael West from the Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council to provide the welcome to country. Born and raised in Sydney as a member of the Stolen Generations, Uncle Michael West has held a variety of senior representative roles, including Director of New South Wales Indigenous Chamber of Commerce and a delegate to the National Congress of Australia's First Peoples. Thank you, Uncle Michael.
Thanks. I was going to say thanks, Naz, and I do love seeing you on TV. I think it is important we do see you on TV. All of our different communities, I think, is so important. I'd like to say Bojari Gamarua Gadigal Eora, and good day and welcome to Gadigal Eora country here. I was thinking about this afternoon. I was here when they had the opening. It was a bit like a rave. It was. They had 3 DJs and that. And I was actually at a rave in the Domain the other week for Fred again, and the Land Council did the welcome for those two. Interesting, all the people being quite active, one might say. And also, I actually was part of doing the digs before this even started, with the archaeologists doing digs just up the top up here, where before this was all here, to just see what was in here, what we knew what was actually here, if there was any artefacts or anything. And I did gate crash an event the other week. I came to the wrong place last week, a couple of weeks ago, and they did have a fashion magazine here. I was supposed to be next door for New South Wales Health. I did think they were a bit dressed up, and then I realised later, I think I know where my Ozempic's gone. We all need a bit of a laugh. We're living in difficult times, aren't we? Yes, going through that last few years. I'd like to say here where we are is Gadigal, obviously. What's a traditional canoe called here in Sydney? Bark canoe? Noe, yes. And as we paddle out from here, we look at the Opera House. What was traditionally there at the Opera House, and what's its traditional name? Jubbagali. Bennelong's what it's been called now after Bennelong. Jubbagali. And there was a midden there, a big midden. And the midden was actually taken, it was used in the mortar for the first buildings. So if you're ever in the Mint, and if you look at the old mortar in there, you see little specks of shell. Or if you're down at the rocks, have a look at some of the old buildings there, you'll see little specks of shell there. As you're paddling out, we see the beautiful other side of the coat hanger, and obviously that's the Harbour Bridge. And you have the other clan over there. What's that clan on North Sydney? Camaragal, yes. As we turn west and we head inland, we're paddling along. We see Barani come in with their calves. They're going down to where they traditionally rest, down at Darling Harbour. But that's not its real name. Its real name is Gomera. So what are Barani? Large mammals. Whales, yes. They still come in here, but I don't think they're going to rest where they traditionally did down there. They would go down to the rest because they knew they were safe because they're part of our totems. They're part of our totems here. And obviously they would be part of totems where our clans, our tribes and nations are connected to water and that. And as we're heading west, we look and we're looking and we see Olympic Park there. And we've waved goodbye to Barani as on our left there. What is the clan out where Olympic Park is? Wongal, yes. And as we look on the right, what is the country or the clan there? Wallamadigal. And we keep going, we eventually hit a set of Parramatta. But what's the clan Parramatta's named after? Barra meaning eel. And there's a whole creation story of this wonderful harbour, the most beautiful harbour in the world, being created by a giant barra, and the waterways, and barra's just resting off of Balmain. There's a little island there called Memel, M-E-M-E-L-I of the Barra. That's just some of the stories here in Sydney. There's many different stories wherever you come from around the country you live on, and it's important we do respect and look after country and care for her. And our sites and our culture is your sites and culture. The current Governor General knows that, Hurley. He used to come down to Redfern and would be boxing with the kids down there. One of the kids told him that, and he realised, yes, that's true. That our culture and our sites is your culture and sites to protect for humanity itself. We go back since the beginning of time. We have those 65,000 plus years, but we know it's a lot longer. We have those 40,000-year-old fish traps. We have the 40,000-year-old burial sites with ceremony with ochre and that. I'll get you guys to just look at one thing on your phones I think is very important. And I'm judging your skills against kids. And Google, where I went and got told them to have a look at this too. Huntingbird Manuscript Vatican. Up the top up there, we traded sea cucumbers. I was lucky to meet a couple of aunties who are descendants of the traders. Traded with the Macassans, the Indonesians up into China. And we made this point next door at the old gallery with the Chinese ambassador, the Chinese consuls, Penny Wong and the senior diplomats. Our trade. One could only imagine if we were allowed to continue that trade. We stopped over 100 years ago having that trade. Imagine the relationship we would have had with Asia and Indonesia and everything. So what did you find for Huntingbird Manuscript Vatican? You'll see a very familiar face. And the century? It's 1241, just shy of 800 years. So that is important to understand these things. I think it's a pretty good picture. What do you guys think? Yes? Everybody see it on their phones? Why do you think it's a good picture? Because he's not happy. He's got attitude. That's what cockatoos are like, aren't they? They're very mischievous. They'll come down and strip a whole tree of its beautiful flowers. They'll attack someone's garden. They'll strip wires. They'll hang upside down on wires and go around. They'll attack wood and everything. They're wonderful totems. The white ones, the black ones, and we also have Dinawans, a totem in central New South Wales, as we know. And then also another totem I think is important that we've been disrespectful to. It's a white bird. It has black tail feathers. It has long legs. It has a long neck and a long beak. The ibis, yes. I was going to say, don't call me a bin chicken. No, don't call me a bin chicken. I'm the sacred ibis. I may be going through your rubbish, be a little bit dirty sometimes, but it's not my fault. It's cause of humans haven't cared for my habitat, and we need to remember that. We need to get back to caring for country. We just have a moment's silence, paying respects to country, paying respects to all Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander, to Tradition owners, elders and custodians of the past and present, paying respects to those we've lost the last few years going through this pandemic. Also, it's important to pay respects to all Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander, Tradition owners, elders and custodians, the past and present, looking after country, spirit of the country and culture. And also, it's been a difficult week in Sydney, hasn't it? And we need to remember that and pay respects to those we've lost. And also those who obviously have been affected by it, which all of us have all been somewhat traumatised, I think, by it. And how we can all do better, and I see people pulled together when incidents like that happen. I'm sure we'll find out why in the future. So if we just have a moment's silence, a moment of paying respect, a moment of reflection. we have 3 beautiful rivers which are the boundaries of the Eora Nation. What are those rivers? They start with H, N and G. Hawkesbury, Georges, Nepean, correct. On behalf of Metropolitan Local Aboriginal Land Council, our members and elders, welcome everyone here. Philanthropy is very important. It's important that we give back to community. It's like some boomerangs, they return. What you put in is what you get out. I think it's so important to remember. And that it always was, always will be Aboriginal land never ceded. We want everyone to have a good time here tonight, have some conversations. Congratulations on the winners who win awards, but I think everyone just nominated or not nominated, being parts of their community active members, is so important. I forgot to say too, the queer community is hurting too. Obviously the last few months of what's happened there, they did have Mardi Gras, but they're also hurting. We need to remember these things and be respectful and always treat people with respect and dignity. Being a good leader is about having sympathy, empathy, compassion, about good communications, treat people the way you want to be treated is what my parents always taught me, and relying on the facts and making informed decisions like we do for getting through the pandemic. When you don't do that, you say dumb things like, why don't you inject yourself with bleach? And we did have that. How many charges? How many indictments this week in court? That's not good leadership, I think. We need good leaders. I think the guys around the world have been letting us down a little bit. Through our line, we're defined through our mother, so we define through our women. I think it's important and understanding that. I'll leave you with those thoughts. We can always do better. Congratulations. Everyone have a great time. Thank you.
What a really beautiful way to open up this evening. Thank you, Uncle Michael. I'd now like to invite Lisa George, Co-Chair of Philanthropy Australia, and Michael Brand, Director of the Art Gallery of New South Wales, to welcome you officially here for this afternoon.
Thank you, Naz, very, very much. And thank you, Uncle Michael, for that wonderful and educational welcome to country. I too would also like to acknowledge and pay my respects to the traditional owners of the lands on which we're meeting this afternoon, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. Uncle Michael, you did it very beautifully, but I did also want to acknowledge and say that I think our collective thoughts are with the victims and the families of recent tragedies in our communities. And I think it's, of course, fair to say that in these difficult times, we are reminded of the importance of strong and connected communities to help those coping with tragedy. So thank you for your words and reminding us of that. Today, Amanda and I, as co-chair, my co-chair Amanda Miller and I are joined by some fellow PA board members, Kirsty Allen and Michael Graff. And I'm also delighted to welcome Marie Seide, who's our incoming CEO, who will be joining Philanthropy Australia in a few weeks. Where is Marie? Where are you? There she is, over there. So fantastic to have you here, Marie. It's now been 10 years since we first started the Australian Philanthropy Awards in 2014. And in relaunching the awards this year, we're making sure that the awards are a true showcase of the best of Australian philanthropy. All of you in the room. And they help us tell the story of how philanthropy makes a positive contribution to communities in Australia and beyond. We were delighted to have more than 150 nominees this year, almost 3 times the number of previous years. Thank you to each of our partners, I think they flashed up on the screen earlier, who share our vision for these awards and to help us celebrate the finalists across the 9 categories. The award finalists represent different approaches to giving and innovative ways of finding impactful solutions across the country. I know that the judges were impressed with the quality and the diversity of nominations. And speaking of which, I want to thank all the incredible judges from all the panels for your time and support. I don't think they were quite expecting that many nominees to read, so thank you for your incredible effort and time in making the awards a possibility. And I especially want to thank the chair of the judging panels, Anne Johnson. Anne was my predecessor as co-chair of Philanthropy Australia, together with Amanda, and was awarded PA's highest recognition as a life member for not only her contribution, incredible contribution to Philanthropy Australia, but to a range of causes through her giving and leadership. So please join me in thanking Anne. We would also very much like to thank the Art Gallery of New South Wales for partnering with us again in hosting the showcase this afternoon. And it's wonderful and very fitting to be in the Mears Hall, as Mears was one of the first registered private ancillary funds in Australia. So a wonderful exemplar of philanthropy in Australia. We look forward to sharing this afternoon with you, and I'd now like to pass over to Michael Brand as the Director of the Art Gallery of New South Wales. Thank you so much, Michael.
Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Amanda. Thanks, Anastasia. And thank you, Michael, also for your very generous and informative welcome to country. We always love having you here at the Art Gallery of New South Wales. I will remind you of the next rave we have. Make sure you get a ticket for that one. Actually, if you missed that opening rave with Rufus Du Sol, we do have the second edition of Volume coming up in July, which will be some quite extraordinary acts in the new tank space. But anyway, welcome to the Art Gallery of New South Wales. It's our pleasure to be here to celebrate the Australian Philanthropy Awards again. We love being involved in the philanthropic community and recognising you because we are great beneficiaries as the State Art Museum in the state of New South Wales. And again, congratulations in particular to Philanthropy Australia and Anne for the amazing work you and your team do with this important organisation. But what better place to celebrate philanthropy, really, than in our new Sana Design building here in Sydney. This glorious space really is the perfect example of philanthropy and is also a perfect model of a public-private partnership in the arts in Australia. We believe it is actually the largest example of that so far in Australia. And since we completed the Sydney Modern project in December 2022, when we opened this new building, we've recorded a visitation of over 2 million at our expanded campus. And just recently in the International Arts newspaper, they ranked us number 28 in the world in terms of attendance at art museums, and that's up from, I think, number 52 or so in 2019. And Sydney should have facilities that allow a large and very broad audience to engage with art at the highest level, but to do that, we know we also need help. Since we opened, we have also staged 2 extraordinary summer international exhibitions, celebrated and grown our collection of First Nations art, conducted programs that reach communities both within Sydney and throughout the state of New South Wales, welcomed on average 250,000 school children each year, and in the original building, we've opened Australia's first children's art book library, thanks to the philanthropy of Ashley Dawson-Damer, and also in that building, a new children's gallery, thanks to the philanthropy of Matt Allen. The physical Sydney Modern project would simply not have been possible without philanthropy. And this philanthropy has actually, this physical philanthropy has changed the face of Sydney itself. Philanthropy is also a major cornerstone of almost everything we do. For example, art acquisitions. We've received no state funding for art acquisitions since 1991. Our exhibition program, our public programs, the presence of Louise Bourgeois' huge marmot spider at the forecourt of our original building, that's also because of the extraordinary generosity of Rosie Williams and John Grill. And the final Sydney Modern Art Commission by Jonathan Jones is currently underway between our 2 buildings in the Lee Family Art Garden, between our 2 beautiful buildings that as of today bear 2 new names, 2 Sydney language Aboriginal names, Nala Badu for this building and Nala Nura for the original building. And we're very pleased to be bringing these examples of Sydney language to the forefront, and we are very proud to have these Indigenous names, to be gifted these names this morning that will be an important part of the experience of visiting the Art Gallery of New South Wales for years to come. We are deeply grateful to all of you here this evening who are so generous, in particular Lisa from Macquarie Group, our valued partner here for over 2 decades. And it just gives me great pleasure to welcome you all as very generous exemplars of our philanthropic community, because together you make a huge difference to, in my world, in the cultural side of Sydney, but I know it's not just culture, but also, I believe, to Australia in general as a hopefully modern nation. It's a very exciting evening. I'm afraid I can't actually stay for the full evening, but I do want to congratulate in advance all of you who win the awards. And for those of you who didn't win the awards, you are all doing fantastic work for our community, and I want to thank you and hope you have a wonderful evening here at the Art Gallery of New South Wales. Thank you for having me over, and enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Well, now let me run you through how this afternoon will work. So in terms of the sequence, it's going to be sort of a section where we're going to recognise 9 different categories, and you heard the huge amount of nominees for this year. So I think we should just take a moment now to give a round of applause for all of our, not only our finalists, but our nominees as well. You do have booklets that outline all of the award categories and the finalists, and we'll be going through that in sequential order. For finalists, you will be presented with a certificate at the end of the formalities, but I will invite the relevant award recipients up on the stage. I will make sure that we can have the presenters that come up, so that might be, one of the judges or just various sponsors who will come up. They will present your awards, and after the finalists have all been read out, you can then applause. I know someone will break the rules, but if we could hold our applause till the end where we have heard all the finalists for each category, that would be fantastic. Now, if you are announced as an award recipient this afternoon, please come up to the stage on your left or my right. And if you walk to the centre of the stage, there's a lectern for you. You'll be presented with the award. If you could pause for a brief photo, and then people can applause again. And then if you would like to please just share a little bit about what inspires you, very briefly, and just give us a little bit of sense of who you are and why you do what you do, that would be fantastic. And then if you can leave the stage using the same set of stairs, that would be fantastic. All right, now we've got all that out of the way, let's actually start. Look, really in line with the Philanthropy Australia vision of a more generous and inclusive Australia, there really is no better award to start with than the Inclusion Award. So if I can invite the judges Jenny Stevens and John Chung to the stage while I tell you a bit more about this award, they will present this award. So the Inclusion Award recognises and celebrates organisations, projects, initiatives or programs that have made outstanding contributions to promoting diversity, equity and inclusion within the philanthropic sector and community. The finalists for this year are NV Access, Michael Curran and James Tay. NV Access co-founders, Michael is here today, James is not, questioned why blind people and people with low vision should have to pay thousands for the same access to technology as their sighted peers. Together, they created the first ever completely free and open source screen reader software called NVDA. It's been translated into 55 languages and now has around 250,000 global users. OC Connections Enterprises Mobile Car Wash with the Gandil Foundation. Since 2019, the Gandil Foundation has worked with OC Connections, an organisation that works with people with disability and has a social enterprise arm. It helps their clients engage in meaningful and productive employment opportunities, and one of those programs is a mobile car washing service, which has helped create many jobs for people with various skills. The Damien Drapac Centre and Scholarships for Vocational Doctors. Mr. Michael Drapac gift of $6.3 million to Deakin University's School of Medicine to establish the Damien Drapac Centre and Scholarship Program for Vocational Doctors is a transformational gift in memory of his son, Damien. The centre supports key aspirations of people who are First Nations, from regional backgrounds or all walks of life, including those from underrepresented groups. Jenny and John, I will now hand over to you to tell us who the recipient is.
Thank you. With great pleasure, we announce that the recipient of the Inclusion Award is the Damien Drapac Centre and Damien Drapac Scholarship for Vocational Doctors.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, the judges. It's very emotional for me to say anything, actually. I was inspired. My son died 5 years ago, Anzac Day. He was a recent graduate of medicine from Deakin University. And, I wanted to do something to commemorate his life and his 10-year journey to become a doctor. And he'd done more GAMSATs than anyone I knew. So I went and saw my dear friends at Deakin. I said, I want to do something to support students who are more vocationally suited to medicine, as opposed to the conventional model of just, the person who the conventional model rewards people with outstanding academic merit. And so over a period of a year, we, between the two of us, the Dean of Medicine, Gary Rogers, we developed this program. And in essence, we have a wonderful medical system in Australia, but one of the defects or the deficiencies is that there's an enormous number of communities, marginalised communities, regional Australia, which are underrepresented and underserved. And so we developed this scholarship to award scholarships to people who are from that area of the world. And I was very proud to award our first scholarship this year. We were awarded two to a transgender male person, and so he will be serving his community very well. Sorry, I haven't really got much more to say. I didn't expect this. Thank you.
We now go to the First Nations Philanthropy Award, and for this award I would like to invite the Acting CEO of Philanthropy Australia, Adam Ognall, and Uncle Michael West back up to the stage to present this particular award. First Nations Philanthropy Award is one that recognises the strengthening, sustaining Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander leaders, communities and culture. This award is for funding initiatives that demonstrate the direct support of First Nations-led or controlled and operated organisations. And I'll now hand over to Adam, who will read a message from the sponsor of this particular award, please.
Thank you, Naz. The judges for this category are travelling or are Uluru, so are unable to join us, but they definitely are here in spirit. And Alison Page, Ninty One's director, is also unable to be here, so it's asked that I share a few words on their behalf. Ninty One Limited is an Aboriginal-owned business established in Alice Springs, Umbandua, in 2003. They're one of Australia's most active Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander project management companies and have sponsored the First Nations Philanthropy Award since its inauguration in 2017. Their relationship with Philanthropy Australia fits with their vision of a not-for-profit, creating culturally safe and inclusive environments, services or resources, delivering positive impacts. Their sponsorship of this award aligns with their ongoing work in health, education, justice, and additional sectors promoting economic empowerment. So thank you to them for their partnership with this award and more broadly over many, many years. I would like to now hand over to Michael to announce who the recipient is and to hand over the award. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we do that, I'll just go through the finalists. We're getting a little bit eager. So the finalists are Queensland Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Foundation Scholarship Program. Established in 2008, Queensland Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Foundation is a charitable trust and Australia's largest First Nations scholarship organisation. Over the past 15 years, 18,800 people, or 7% of all First Nations Queenslanders, have their senior school education supported by a scholarship from this program. The Bowman Fund and Western Australian Relief and Recovery Fund held with the Fremantle Foundation. The fund, a sub-fund of the Fremantle Foundation, was founded 11 years ago by highly respected Noongar elder Kim Collard, founder of Coolbadi, Australia's largest Aboriginal-owned stationery company, Kuya Australia Fleet Solutions. The fund has collectively raised more than $1.4 million and supported 19 charitable organisations across Australia. Yuayanara Lee partnership between Darrell Elders, the Darrell Elders Group and UNSW. I think this means we need to make sure that the names of our partnerships, I need to read them a little more. Sorry if I'm butchering them, but this is a community-led partnership. It works to improve the wellbeing, social, built and physical environments and life pathways for Aboriginal people in Walgett, New South Wales. The project has collected evidence of more than 400 outcomes at individual, community, place and systems levels over its last grant period. That grant period was 2020 to mid-2023. Adam, I hand over to you. Michael, please announce our recipient.
I was just going to say, with great pleasure, I'll read this out. The recipient for the First Nations Philanthropy Award is the Billman Fund and Western Australian Relief and Recovery Fund, held with the Fremantle Foundation. I just wanted to say, Naz, look, there's nothing wrong with trying the names. It's all part of our journey of reconciliation and all coming together. So.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Stu McLeod from the Fremantle Foundation. We're a community foundation founded in Fremantle, but sourcing grants all across WA. Kim started the Bibbleman Fund with us 11 years ago. The word exemplar has been said a couple of times, so I think I'll use that to say Kim is the exemplar of a bloody good bloke. And when we think about what inspires us at the foundation, it's stories. It's the stories of people who come to us wanting to help or needing help. It's stories of sacrifice, of hope, of optimism, of struggle. And it's those stories that Kim went up to Fitzroy Crossing to listen to. So I think I'll hand over to him to explain a bit more about that project.
Thank you, Stu. And thank you, my uncle, for inviting us on the Gadigal country. As I said, I'm a Noongar, so I'm way out of my country, and I arrived about 2 hours ago. So I'd like to thank Philanthropy Australia, 10th anniversary, wonderful. Also the sponsor of this particular award, Nini One Limited. Also, I'd like to acknowledge the other finalists. To Fremantle Foundation, to Stewie, to Sue, who can't be with us tonight, and particularly I want to give a special mention to the Paul Ramsay Foundation for their support for the Kimberley Fitzroy River flood event. But thank you very much. It's a great honour and privilege to receive this award. Thank you.
Our next award is the Collaboration Award. This Collaboration Award, which recognises organisations, projects, initiatives or programs where there has been demonstrated collaboration to drive more and better philanthropy. I'd like to invite to the stage Anne Johnson, Chair of the Judging Panel, and Edgar Meyer, while I introduce the 4 finalists for this year's Collaboration Award. Canberra Foundations Collaborative. The seeds of the Canberra Foundations Collaborative were sown during the COVID crisis when Hands Across Canberra, the Snow Foundation and John James Foundation united to launch a rapid response grant round for community organisations. The collaborative has supported 191 projects worth $3.4 million and provided capacity building to more than 100 organisations. Gender Compass. Gender Compass is first of its kind research which segments the broader Australian public into 6 groups according to their beliefs, policy preferences and behaviours in relation to gender equality. More than 20 different organisations contributed to the success of this research project and the rollout of it. Preventing mental health issues in young Australians, a social impact collaboration in developments since this was in development since 2022. The Future Generation Global Impact Measurement Initiative involves 14 not-for-profit organisations, Future Generation Global, which is a philanthropic funder, Social Outcomes Impact Measurement Specialists, and SEER Data and Analytics, obviously data specialists. Our next one, Voices for Impact. Established in 2017, the Australian Community Foundation Impact Fund harnesses the power of collective giving to address critical issues in Australia across the areas of inequality, democracy, environment, and First Nations self-determination. The Impact Fund's 2023 program, Voices for Impact, concentrated efforts on supporting First Nations self-determination, raising more than $2.3 million and distributing more than 130 grants to 80 plus organisations. Anne, I'll now throw to you.
Thank you, Nas. First of all, just to say there are several finalists in this category and 2 winners tonight because there was an overwhelming number of extraordinarily good nominations in this category, and the judges agree we just couldn't, it wouldn't have been right to take it down any further. So we have 2 recipients for the Collaboration Award: Preventing Mental Health Issues in Young Australians, a Social Impact Collaboration, and Voices for Impact.
Thank you very much for this award. So I'm speaking on behalf of our team. I think it was one of the most complex design and implementation challenges imaginable, and we've all done lots of these. But to meet the needs of philanthropy, the 14 partners, all the stakeholders involved was quite extraordinary, but we're incredibly excited about where we landed with this and that each and every one of the partner recipients got their own impact measurement framework as well as Future Gen Global. So that was an amazing piece of work to pull it all together because they're so different, but one that we feel very proud of, so thank you.
So I've been told to say that these awards were judged by an independent judging panel well before any appointment was announced about the future CEO of Philanthropy Australia.
Very true.
Community foundations are the most extraordinary places, as we've already heard tonight. We're homes for giving, yes, but we're also places of organising, of advocacy, of mobilising and convening, and where needed, activism. ACF has had a strong history of supporting First Nations self-determination in our almost 30-year history. This has taken many forms, including the handing over of corpus to First Nation-led funders. Last year, however, we stepped into our maturity as an organisation as a funder of movements. And in that work, we had the extraordinary privilege of partnering with 4 amazing organisations and their leaders. Rachel Dean and the team at AICR, Millie Kirsty and the team at Australian Progress, Megan and the team at UNSW, and Larissa and the team at GetUp. Each partnership required something different from us, moving money quickly, making small grants to build capacity, making large grants to fund campaigns, raising awareness, staging events, fundraising, supporting advocacy, the list goes on. But the work that happened at ACF was just one example of the many amazing collaborations that happened across the country, many of whom were led by people in this room tonight. Great allyship was shown last year with our First Nations community. So we accept this award on behalf of every Australian who stepped forward last year to vote yes, and to all of the funders and civil society leaders who showed up, and to all of the amazing collaborations that emerged. They are what matters. They are what will get us there in the end. I'd like to invite my colleague Larissa to say a few words on behalf of our partners.
Thank you, Marie. I just wanted to talk a little bit about what this collaboration looks like in real time. And I think that while for a lot of us, we have still some sore hearts over the referendum loss, it was a credible moment for advocacy in this country, and we were inundated by grassroots communities and organisations, local leaders who were just like, what do we do in this moment right now? And these grants went to people being able to create content in language for their communities and target that on social media. It empowered an incredible organising effort, which meant that local leaders were travelling hundreds of kilometres to outstations to have community meetings to talk about what this thing was actually about in and amongst the mis and disinformation. It meant that incredible advocates stood up outside of the normal polished media people that were out there and talked about what this would actually mean for their community. It meant that our media had someone else to cover during the story. And I just want to remind people that within our communities during the referendum, overwhelmingly we voted for it. And these are the types of collaborations, the opportunities that we create that are going to create change. And we're not going to give up. 6 million people did vote yes, and there's a lot of work to do. So thank you. Well, I've always considered myself a fairly high achiever, but far out. Hosting these and listening to everyone's incredible work is just making me feel incredibly inadequate. This is fantastic. It's also incredibly inspiring. The next award is the Innovation Award. The Innovation Award recognises excellence in innovation and experimentation through programs, projects and initiatives that have enhanced or extended current philanthropic practice, contributing to addressing disadvantage across sectors. I'd now like to call on Antonia Ruffle, who is the judge and CEO, to come to the stage while I give you a bit of an overview of our finalists. Climate 200. Climate 200 tackles the root cause of Australia's inaction on climate, integrity, I'll start that again. Climate 200 tackles the root cause of Australia's inaction on climate, integrity and gender equality, a broken democracy. Climate 200 fundraisers for and strategically re-grants to communities to raise awareness of democratic participation. Their innovative approach to climate advocacy raised $13.5 million from 11,200 donors. They supported 23 independents in the 2022 election. They helped empower tens of thousands of people to put sustained climate and integrity-focused pressure on the political system. This helped independents David Pocock, Monique Ryan and Allegra Spender get elected. Future Generation Investment Companies. Future Generation Investment Companies is Australia's first listed investment company to pursue both financial and social returns, drawing on the talents and generosity of Australia's financial community. The company drives capital into the hands of the not-for-profit sector. In just 8 years, it's donated close to $76 million to Australian not-for-profits. Snow Centre for Immune Health. In 2023, Snow Medical Research Foundation announced a historic initial contribution of $100 million to establish the Snow Centre for Immune Health at the Walter and Eliza Hall Institute for Medical Research. This initiative is innovative in its approach to partnering to supporting medical science and its approach to ensuring that the health outcomes are transformative. Antonia, I'll now hand over to you to announce our recipient.
And the recipient for the Innovation Award is Climate 200.
I threw a few words together just in the glass half full expectation that we might get it. I'm Rob Keldoulis and I sponsored Climate 200 for this award, and I'm here with Byron Fay, who's the Executive Director of Climate 200. So I'm absolutely delighted to receive this on behalf of the thousands of Australians who, like me, gave whatever they could to this innovative and impactful approach to climate advocacy. Like anyone in this room, I want my dollar to be as effective as it can be. Supporting the community independence has been some of the most effective impact my dollars have ever had on all three areas that Climate 200 catalyses progress in, which is climate integrity and gender equality. So I'm sure, like most of us here, democratic reform is probably not our biggest philanthropic priority, but in fact it should be our first. We can't address a climate crisis without first strengthening our democracy, and Climate 200's innovation is in recognising this fact. So like many supporting Climate 200, I've not only given to the community independence movement, but I felt tremendous empowerment in doing so. Advocacy has become increasingly accepted in the philanthropic space because it works. Getting government to move the dial on these issues has a multiplier effect that direct investment can never hope to match. So I'm so delighted that Philanthropy Australia has recognised the impact of this relatively new movement, and my hope is it encourages others to join me in supporting Climate 200's increasingly needed work. If you want to know more, do come over and ask me whilst we're all here tonight. Thank you very much.
Well, what is philanthropy without good leadership? The next award is the Leadership Award. This award recognises an individual, organisation or initiative with outstanding leadership qualities and vision, work or transformational impact. This award is in partnership with Macquarie Group Foundation, and I'd like to invite to the stage Laura McMillan from Macquarie Group Foundation to announce the recipient for this Leadership Award. If I can just go through the finalists. Firstly, Joseph Skrinsky, AO. Joe has had a dual career in business and an extensive philanthropic career within the media, cultural and social justice sectors. He's shown and encouraged leadership with the Sydney Committee for the Australia Foundation in support of Human Rights Watch and the Global Board of Directors of Human Rights Watch Incorporated. He's the first Australian to hold such a global position. Manifera. Manifera is a collective of 23 funders from across Australia. Since its establishment in 2019, members have contributed to a pooled fund that's dispersed over $3.5 million in grants to 46 civil society organisations, many of which have gone on to create systemic level reforms. Terry Snow AM and Jeanette Snow. Terry Snow AM and Jeanette Snow's dedication to philanthropy formally started 33 years ago through the Snow Foundation, Canberra region. They now give on a national scale addressing key social justice issues, backing social entrepreneurs and innovation, and more recently, breakthrough medical research. Tom Snow. Tom Snow is outgoing chair of Equality Australia the national voice for LGBTIQ+ people, and founded the organisation in 2015. When the LGBTIQ+ community first faced a national plebiscite on the issue of same-sex marriage, as co-chair, he played a crucial leadership role in establishing the organisation to become the vehicle for the Yes campaign. Laura, I'll hand over to you.
Thank you. It's my honour to present this award on behalf of the Macquarie Group Foundation and congratulate all of the finalists for their outstanding leadership. The winner tonight is Terry Snow AM and Jeanette Snow.
Thank you for this award. We're honoured and thrilled to accept it. I'm sorry Terry's not here. He'd love to be, but he's in hospital. I'm sorry. Thanks for all of those who've made this award possible. All of our children are involved with our foundations, but especially Georgie Byron, who has been the force behind the Snow Foundation. I'm so sorry. For 18 years, Tommy Snow is overseas, and he's been the helm at the Snow Medical, our foundation supporting top medical scientists. Both have grown enormously. Both of the foundations have grown enormously over the past 5 years, and Terry's and my commitment to give more to do more when we can. He has this saying, if you see somebody struggling, you have to give them a helping hand. But neither Georgie nor Tommy could be so successful without their partnerships and their amazing boards and teams. They together make it all happen. There would be no award without them. I'd just like to show you which ones they are. If you could stand so we could clap them, please. All the ones over there. Thank you. You're all a great example. Everybody here is fabulous. Thank you. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
Our next award is the Community Philanthropy Award. This award is in partnership with Community Foundations Australia, Foundation for Rural Regional Renewal, Lord Mayor's Charitable Foundation and Australian Communities Foundation. The award recognises achievements through funding projects or organisations that specifically support impact through community-led philanthropy. I'll now ask Ben Rogers, Chair of Community Foundations Australia, to the stage while I provide a bit of a description of these finalists. Amplify Pride Fund. The Amplified Pride Fund was established in 2022 by Aurora Group, and they give out to LGBTIQ+-led community funders. They help to tackle the challenges and barriers still facing vulnerable members of this community in Australia, and some of those include poorer mental health, isolation, homelessness, and social and economic marginalisation. The Bowman Fund and Western Australian Relief and Recovery Fund held with the Fremantle Foundation. The Fremantle Foundation established the Western Australian Relief and Recovery Fund in 2020 to rapidly mobilise donations and provide support to those most affected by COVID-19 after facing a surge in funding and requests of more than $500,000 from local charities. The Lorena and Richard, you're testing me, Westrich Foundation. Beacon Laundry. Beacon Laundry has been supported by this foundation, and from ideation right through to delivery. The laundry started operating in January 2024 in Bangalow in northern New South Wales. It employs 55 staff, or it has already employed 55 staff who represent the full spectrum of disadvantage in the region, including rough sleepers, young people experiencing mental health issues, Indigenous people, and single women with caring duties. Give Where You Live, Pitch Up Geelong, powered by the Funding Network. The Funding Network's partnership with Give Where You Live Foundation in Geelong has expanded the Funding Network's innovative live crowdfunding to regional Victoria, and since the first event in 2018, Pitch Up Geelong has raised more than $500,000 in funding for grassroots organisations operating locally. Ben, can you please announce our award recipient?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name's Ben Rogers. As Chair of Community Foundations Australia, we represent over 40 community foundations across the country, and some of their work has been showcased already tonight. There's been a lot of talk about communities and about how philanthropic money is just figures on the page until it's turned into community value, which all these finalists demonstrate in buckets. I'm very pleased on behalf of our partners, the Lord Mayor's Charitable Foundation, Australian Communities Foundation, and FRRR, to award the Community Foundation Award for 2024 to the Amplify Pride Fund. Congratulations, well done.
Hi everyone, my name's Em Scott. I'm the CEO of Give Out. A huge thank you to Philanthropy Australia and the selection committee for this recognition, and also the other finalists as well. Congratulations to you. Amplified Pride Fund, the idea came back in 2021 when Give Out and the other organisation behind the fund, Aurora, co-produced research where the Rainbow Resources that found that our LGBTIQ plus beloved sector is chronically underfunded, receiving just 5 cents to every 100 philanthropic dollars. This means that our sector has a lot of things to address, but it is very small. They're operating on tiny budgets, they're mostly volunteer run, and they're unable to meet demand for services. So rather than just talking about it, we decided to do something about it, and we created Amplified Pride Fund in 2022. With the idea that it is able to give the sector larger, more flexible, more sustainable funding than they've previously had access to, as well as a very tangible opportunity for philanthropic to be a part of the change. We are for community and we are led by community, and that is core to what we are. We think the model's pretty neat. We're glad you do too, and hope to see more collective funds and community infrastructure supported. Firstly, and most importantly, a huge thank you to the Snow Foundation. This is only possible because of your foundational support and your ongoing support and your trust. Thank you so much to the whole team, particularly Georgina and Sally. Yes, we couldn't have done it without you. Thank you to the Give Out team, Georgia Matthews, Kat Fay, who's not here, also our former CEO Tracy, the Aurora team, Jones, Sam Turner and David Scammell, also our other donors that have joined along the journey, including the Brennan Lynch Foundation and Paul Ramsey Foundation.
Hi everyone, I'm Jones and I'm the Program Manager of Aurora. The work is not yet done. Due to ongoing stigma and discrimination, rainbow communities continue to experience poorer mental health, isolation, homelessness and economic marginalisation. The LGBTIQ+ community sector achieves great outcomes for communities when they have the resources. Our grantees are proof of that. We have an ambitious goal to be moving millions to LGBTIQ+ communities by growing the Amplify Pride Fund and through other initiatives. We would be delighted to collaborate with others on this goal. Please reach out. Thank you.
Oh, we are.
It's hard to know when you have no vision if there are people still wanting to talk or not. So if I cut anybody off, please let me know. Our next award is the Environmental and Climate Philanthropy Award. In partnership with Australian Environmental Grant Makers Network, this award recognises funding projects or organisations that specifically support the environment or have a specific co-benefit to the environment. If I can invite Amanda Martin OAM to the stage, please. Amanda is the founding CEO at Australian Environmental Grantmakers Network, and Amanda will announce our recipient. But first, let me go through the finalists. Climate Action Network Australia Small Grants Program. This is funded by the Robert Hicks Foundation and Equity Trustees. It's a network of more than 150 civil society organisations working together to protect people from climate change and its impacts, to safeguard our national environment and to build a fairer and healthier Australia for everyone. Climate 200, we know a bit about them, but here's a little bit more. We know that they tackle the root cause of Australia's inaction on climate change, a broken democracy. They've helped communities voice their concern for climate action in independent campaigns that make politicians act to neutralise the threat of climate change. Climate Whistleblower Program. The ACME Foundation, along with some of its collaborators, they have provided seed funding to enable the Human Rights Law Centre to establish their whistleblower project. It's a major focus of this project is whistleblowing relating to climate change and environmental harm. Goodman Wealth Foundation. The Goodman Wealth Foundation's impact in environmental philanthropy is multifaceted and far-reaching, including investment, advocacy and research. Among other initiatives, the family have worked with the University of Queensland and other universities to directly fund critical research, and it's initiated an award to put environmental philanthropists in the spotlight. Amanda, I'll now hand over to you.
Thank you. So fantastic to see such a big crowd. Congratulations to Philanthropy Australia. I thought I would introduce this award by telling a little story and a little bit of audience participation, because I know you've been sitting there for a while. So who of you, put your hands up if you've been to a coral reef? Anyone? Oh, wow. That's nearly everybody. And for those of you who haven't been to a coral reef, I imagine that you would love to get to something like the Great Barrier Reef. I'm asking that question because this morning I had a few tears, and there's been a few tears tonight as well, but I had a few tears over my cup of tea. As I read the usual news feed, there was a story about ocean temperatures being at record levels and the impact on coral reefs. Our coral reefs are bleaching at an unprecedented and repeated rate. I'm really lucky. I've just come back from an amazing place called Lord Howe Island, and I had first-hand vision of what was going on with that coral bleaching. Our coral reefs are dying, and it's on our watch. They are unspeakably beautiful and biologically diverse, but they are also the backbone to many economies around the world. It's not only our reefs that are in trouble. Across this vast planet, our natural world is in crisis. But there are hundreds, actually thousands of solutions to this crisis, and philanthropy has an urgent and vital role to play in funding these solutions. And that's why this award is really, really important. So every year the judges for the Environment and Climate Philanthropy Award are spoilt for choice, and this year was no different. Thank you to all the organisations that nominated for this award. The showcase of different projects was inspiring, and the 4 shortlisted organisations are to be highly commended. However, there was one, unlike yours, Anne, there was one unanimous decision by the judges. On behalf of the judging panel, Sue McKinnon Ella Colley and Beth Melick, I'm delighted to announce the Environment and Climate Philanthropy Award, and it goes to an organisation whose impact on addressing climate change and protecting the environment has been absolutely profound. So the winner is Climate 200, and their many donors. As you guys come up to accept this award, it's important to note that to achieve social and environmental change, it relies on political will. And this award recognises the importance of engaging with local communities and building awareness and capacity to call for better environmental outcomes. Climate 200 has played a transformative role in supporting communities to demand more of their political representatives and keep environmental issues and their solutions on the political agenda. So congratulations, you guys.
Thank you. Wow, big night for Climate 200 tonight. I'm Simon Holmescourt, and I firstly want to congratulate the other finalists tonight and thank Philanthropy Australia for the recognition and everyone here for all you do to make Australia the great country that it is. Most thought that Climate 200 was a crazy and perhaps too audacious idea, and yet 11,000 people came along for the journey. Most of our donors had never given to politics before, and very few have ever had as big an impact. On climate, we're living on borrowed time. The urgency is such that we cannot afford to hack at the branches anymore. We have to strike at the root. Our philanthropy must be precision-guided to achieve maximum impact. After the 2022 election, I wrote that political change driven authentically by local community, supported by national movements, is the most effective, impactful and rapid way to see action on climate, integrity and gender equality that Australia needs and that Australians want. I'm humbled and proud that the traditional philanthropic community has recognised our maverick approach, both at the election and here tonight. While I'm picking up the award on behalf of Climate 200's donors, because I only gave about 2% of the total we raised in 2022, I want to thank you for recognising the thousands who appreciated our crazy idea, supported 23 independent campaigns across the country, inspired tens of thousands, changed the makeup of Parliament and helped to revitalise Australian democracy for good. The independents are now the powerful spokespeople in Canberra for everybody's climate and environmental efforts, and much more. They keep the focus on the solutions and off the politicking. We can't lose this representation, and there are more like them being found by communities across the country who at the very least will force others to keep climate front and centre. So I hope this recognition inspires others to support pro-climate independence and the communities that stand behind them. Thank you very much.
Well, the next award is the Eve Malab AO Gender Wise Philanthropy Award. In partnership with Australians Investing in Women, this award recognises and celebrates achievements in philanthropy that advance gender equity through direct investment in projects or organisations that support women and girls, or the integration of the gender lens. I'd like to invite two people to the stage now to present this award. Julie Riley, OAM. Julie's the CEO at Australians Investing in Women, and Jill Reichstein, OAM, Chair of the Judges for this category. Please come to the stage, please. And I will now tell you about our three finalists. Firstly, 100 Women. Founded in 2013, 100 Women is a philanthropic giving circle which invests in and empowers women and girls. Today, with more than 1.2 million in member donations, 100 Women has funded 39 grants for sustainable initiatives, benefiting 37,100 women and girls, both locally and overseas. Mecca Empower. Empower is Mecca's social change initiative focusing on advancing gender equality. Mecca supports a collective of 20 plus not-for-profits working to educate girls, advance opportunities for women at work, improve women's health, and enhance the representation of women by elevating their voices and the issues that matter to them. Susan Alberti, AC, Susan Alberti Medical Research Foundation. Susan Alberti, AC, via the Medical Research Foundation, drives research and leadership initiatives which are vital components of Victoria University's Women in Sport program. Through strategic philanthropic support of women's sports, she's sparked a national conversation on gender stereotypes and opportunities for women in professional sports and leadership roles. Julie and Jill, over to you.
Thank you. As the co-founder of Australians Investing in Women alongside Eve Marlab, I was delighted to chair the selection committee for the GenderWise Awards, named in her honour. It was no exaggeration to say that this year the committee faced an agonising choice, not just in choosing these outstanding finalists from a brilliant list of nominations, but then selecting the final recipient was really tough.
And I can see that because the choice was between a wonderful giving circle that was funding the empowerment of women locally and globally and democratising philanthropy through collective giving, or an amazing corporate that has curated and funded an incredible collective of leading not-for-profits working in gender equality on multiple fronts, or an outstanding philanthropic leader who, through her own foundation, has almost single-handedly funded initiatives that have changed the face of women's sport in Australia.
As I said, it was tough. In the end, the sheer scale and breadth of giving and the strategic focus on long-term, multifaceted action led the committee to award this year's Eve Marlab GenderWise Philanthropy Award to Mecca Empower.
So just while Sarah is coming to the stage, I just wanted to add, you've seen the breadth of the projects and organisations that Mecca funds. One that wasn't mentioned is that they're also funding in men's behaviour change. And I just want to mention that in their education funding alone, they've supported more than 11,000 girls to complete secondary education by funding programs in Africa, in Australian Indigenous communities, and in migrant and refugee communities. And I'm just absolutely thrilled. And sorry that not everyone's a winner this time.
The committee was incredibly impressed by Empower's commitment to educating these young people, both staff and customers, and teaching them issues of gender equality and our need for action. Our warm congratulations goes to Joe Horgan and the team at Mecca Empower, and I'm delighted to be able to present you this award. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Sarah Bailey and I'm lucky enough to be part of the Mecca Empower team. Firstly, a huge thank you to Philanthropy Australia and to the other finalists, 100 Women and Susan Alberti there. It takes everybody to come together to get to equality, so this award does belong to all the finalists and the nominees. Mecca has always been about creating an environment where women can thrive, and Jo has certainly championed that from the very start 25 years ago. So it's a huge honour to receive an award in the name of Eve Marlab, who very much put women at the forefront of her philanthropy. For those of you who don't know Empower, it's Mecca's movement for social change, and as Julie mentioned, we work with 20 game-changing leaders and organisations who are working every day to change the structures and the processes that we need to in order to get to equality and to change the world that we're living in. So there's a few of our partners that are here tonight, and more than anything, this award belongs to all of those 20, so thank you. We know that it's going to take around 300 years currently to reach gender equality and for girls to have the same rights, freedoms and opportunities as their brothers. And frankly, Mecca's we're not okay with that, and we're not going to wait. And we're on a mission to change things. We're just getting started. We've got a lot more to do, but we have a saying at work, which is together, let's make the world over. And I know everyone in the room is working to do that. So it's a huge honour, and thank you.
Our next award is the International Philanthropy Award. In partnership with Australian International Development Network, the International Philanthropy Award is for grants allocated to domestically based organisations operating overseas that work towards creating a more sustainable and better future for all through a global measurement framework like the Sustainable Development Goals. Can I now ask Julie Rosenberg, Executive Officer at AIDN, and Anna Demon to please come to the stage. Anna is one of the judges for this category. And I will go through the finalists.
We jumped early. We're here.
Just too quick. KJC Farm and Outgrower Program in rural Siem Reap, Cambodia. Australian not-for-profit Dana Asia Ltd works with local implementing partners, KJ, that try to combat food insecurity and poverty. It does this by challenging traditional poultry farming practices to turn backyard chicken raising into viable and sustainable business opportunities for rural and poor farmers. Cambodian Children's Fund Nissen Cripps Academy. Opened in February 2017, this academy is a gift from the Cripps Foundation and was designed pro bono by world-class architects Cook Fox. The school is named after the children's Cambodian founder Scott Nissen and former Velcro Company's chairman Robert Cripps. The Intrepid Foundation Morocco Earthquake Appeal. The Intrepid Foundation is the not-for-profit arm of the world's largest adventure travel company. We all know it, Australia, founded Intrepid. The Intrepid Foundation's Morocco earthquake appeal followed the devastating earthquake of September 2023. The appeal raised $100,000 in matched funding from the Intrepid Foundation to raise a further $550,000 in new donations. Julie, and award recipients, please. Recipient.
Right. I'm the other Julie, occasionally. I'm just thrilled to be here, a part of the awards, and thrilled to be in partnership with Philanthropy Australia, having the awards back on. It's just great to be here. Aidan, very briefly, is a very neutral, large, I like to call it a megaphone, actually just pushing out the good work that is done by the sector. And for me personally, it's either here, there, or everywhere. It has been just a real honour to be involved in the whole process today. I'm going to hand over to Anna, who did the heavy lifting and chaired the panel and came up with the difficult decision, because it was difficult. I don't think anyone was expecting the number of nominations that came in. All worthy, all great. Over to you, Anna.
Yeah, thanks so much, other Julie. Yeah, there were a bunch of really good organisations working in the international development space. Before I announce the nominee, I just want to do a quick pop quiz, which, if you give me the liberty of doing so, Naz, because we are at the end here, the end of the awards. Does anyone
We're
have
running ahead
any...
of schedule. I shouldn't say this.
Are we?
But we are. So go
That's what I was
for
saying. Just wondering if anyone's got a sense of how much of our gross national income goes to international development. No, not you. Does anyone have an idea of the percentage? don't look it up. Yeah, someone said 1% and someone said 0.2%, who'd obviously Googled. Didn't Google. So we only 0.2% of our gross national income goes to international development. So we think there's a space for philanthropy, and that's why Aiden exists. And Julie does an amazing job of acting as a megaphone, personal megaphone, together with the team. I'd like to congratulate all the finalists. They were really impressive. But without further ado, what I'll do now is announce the winner. It's the Cambodian Children's Fund. And the Neeson Cripps Academy, who are the recipients tonight. Congratulations.
Look at you get. Oh my gosh, it's very lovely. Hi everyone, my name is Bella and I'm here representing Cambodian Children's Fund. Scott Neeson, our founder, is based in Cambodia, and unfortunately Robert Cripps couldn't be here tonight. He's representative of the Cripps Foundation. So just a brief background on our organisation. We were founded in 2004 and we're celebrating our 20th anniversary this year, actually upstairs in the gallery space, which will be lovely. So our core mission is providing education, high quality education, to some of the most underprivileged children living in Cambodia. And this partnership between CCF and Robert Cripps was looking forward and saying, okay, well, we can get children to school, but they need to have a pathway to careers and independent living. And so as we know, STEM is a growing field and increasingly important in the Cambodian economy. So Robert Cripps came to Scott and said, okay, I want to build a facility that's excellent not just by Cambodian standards, but by international standards. So opening in 2017, our first cohort to graduate in 2022, 100% of the students passed and continued on to tertiary education. That's an incredible outcome for kids who grew up living in extreme poverty. And something that reminds me of the importance of international development is one of our alumni, Sina, who I'm very privileged to call a friend. She's currently on scholarship in Melbourne, studying a Master's in Communications on the Australian Awards Scholarship. But after coming from extreme poverty, she has not only continued on with her education, but she's now funding her nieces through school in Cambodia. So I just want to encourage you all that if you have the capacity to give in the international development space, please do. The money goes a really long way and creates really incredible change. And if you want to know more, please come chat to me afterwards.
Congratulations again, and congratulations to all our recipients tonight. But we also need to remember that everyone in this room who has been a finalist tonight or nominated has done extraordinary work to make our world a better place for all of us. So please give another round of applause to everybody. I think what's very clear to me, not having a lot of prior knowledge about the philanthropic space, is really four things: that it really does take innovation, leadership, collaboration, and most of all, the passion to want to make this world a better place. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for your work. Thank you for having me as your MC. And in closing remarks, I would really like to invite Amanda Miller, OAM, co-chair of the Philanthropy Australia, to give some final remarks tonight before you can all stay around to discuss further projects. There's been already some people wanting to reach out and collaborate, so make sure you do that, have a drink and enjoy the rest of the night. And over to Amanda.
Thanks, Naz. Wow, I have to say, what an incredible display of the work that our sector does. It's inspirational, it's impactful, and thank you to each and every one of you in this room and everybody that you partner with for all of your work. Thank you. I love that from Mecca. Together, let's make the world over. And I think that that's what all of us are trying to do. So thank you for sharing that with us. So on behalf of Lisa, my co-chair, and the Philanthropy Australia Board, as I said, congratulations to all the finalists, all the award recipients, and in fact, everybody that nominated as well. It takes a lot of work to send in those nominations, and there were hundreds of them, so thank you. And also to all of our partners and supporters. It's been so wonderful to come together again as a philanthropic community and to recognise the impressive and different and very, really diverse approaches to giving that we've seen on display here tonight. I, for one, have been really inspired by all the stories that have been shared. And as somebody said, it is really all about stories, and it's very personal, as we've seen tonight. In particular, I've found it so interesting just to see all the different collaborations between organisations, between grant recipients and grantees, between a whole range of diverse organisations, and we've seen how impactful those collaborations can be. Thank you, Naz, for emceeing the event so beautifully tonight. And a huge thank you to Anne and all the other judges of all the categories for all the work that you did in reviewing those hundreds of high-quality nominations. Thank you. It's great to, just on a personal note, it's great to be sitting together with Anne again in between Lisa and I, and I think it just shows that your work with Philanthropy Australia is never done once you're involved, so thank you. And it does embody, it shows that Anne really does embody the lifetime membership award that she received last year. So we'd also love to thank our awards partners and those who contributed to the Pay It Forward scheme to ensure that this showcase was really open to all today. And I want to also thank the PA staff and team, especially led by Adam and Renata on these awards. And I'm going to take a leaf out of Jeanette's book and ask you to please all stand up so that we can acknowledge you and say thank you. Can the PA team please stand up? Johnny in the back there. Hi, Johnny. It's a huge amount of work, so thank you. We really, really appreciate it. And it's run so smoothly. We're finishing ahead of this part ahead of schedule, so you've done something right. Thank you. I'd also really like to thank Philanthropy Australia's strategic funders. We couldn't be here without you, and your significant investment and support in Philanthropy Australia is much, much appreciated. Thank you. So today was an opportunity to showcase some of the best of Australian philanthropy, and I hope that you can all join us, and that you're all planning to join us for our Philanthropy Australia conference this year, which will be in Adelaide. Let's all go to Adelaide from the 5th to the 7th of August. I hope to see you all there to continue these conversations. And finally, thank you just to all of you for turning up here today. We now have drinks in the atrium, so we can continue the conversations then. As Naz said, keep working to make the impact. But in the meantime, can I just ask the award recipients to come up for a group photo, I think. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the evening.